Good morning, South Middle School. It is September 18th, Friday. It is the third day of the new school year. It is also the first Friday of the new school year, which means you've made it through the first week of the new school year. And just think about this, for the first time in forever, you have a weekend. You worked for a week, you have a weekend. You earned it. You put in the effort, and now you have a few days off. So I do hope you take some time to relax and enjoy actually having a weekend again. While we're talking about the date, I do want to send some happy birthday wishes. Today we are saying happy birthday to Christopher Dangora, happy birthday, and to Alan Ho, happy birthday. Both celebrating their birthdays today. We also have some over the weekend happy birthdays. So we won't be in school together, so we want to make sure that we're sending birthday wishes today for folks who have birthday over the weekend. Happy birthday to Victoria Makucha, Christopher Rogers, happy birthday, and happy birthday to Matthew Rogers and Ava Williams, happy birthday. All four are celebrating their birthdays tomorrow on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have one birthday wish going out to Kian Kevel, happy birthday. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Maybe get some nice cake. All right, so please rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now a moment of silence. Thank you very much. It was great yesterday to see so many smiling faces on the Google Meets. I got into a lot of the different classes and got to see people interacting with each other, sharing a little bit of information about yourself, learning a little bit more information about your teachers, and just sort of having fun, doing all sorts of really interesting activities. It was great to see that excitement, that energy, and I know the teachers were in very high spirits yesterday after meeting with four great groups of students. So that was great. And then also then in the afternoon, we got to see even more students when we had the building tours. So it was great to see a bunch of you live and in person and actually have voices of kids running through the hall. Well, not running through the halls, but you know what I mean. And it's that this is what the school building is meant for. It was really great to have the halls filled with that sound of the excitement of people getting back to school and getting back into their routines. Feels like every day we're taking one step forward, right? When you think back to Wednesday, the big challenge was getting onto Google Classroom, finding where all the different assignments are posted and information gets listed. And then on Thursday, the big challenge was learning how to get onto the Google Meets, make sure that everyone is on there, go over some of the rules and expectations about that, while also doing all of these different orientation activities, kind of having some fun with that. But I feel like every day we're gaining in our skills that we're going to be using throughout the school year. And it's really great to see everyone learning in that way over the course of this week and growing. It really got me thinking about it. So there's a quote I wasn't too familiar with, but I did a little searching and found. So there's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. He was our president 120, 25 years ago. And so I'm going to read a quote from him. It's a little bit long. Bear with me because we'll talk about it afterwards. And I do want to say, in this quote, the President Roosevelt refers to the man, the strong man, is what one of the characters featured in this quote. And just remember, last week we just celebrated the 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote. If you can believe it, only 100 years ago, women didn't have the right to vote in this country. And people obviously saw the error of their ways on that and realized that women had just as much of intelligent thoughts and opinions and had every right to vote for the folks that were going to govern them. So that was 100 years ago. Theodore Roosevelt was talking 125 years ago. So you'll see that his quote, he was probably referring to humankind, but he does say the man. So bear with me. When we talk about the quote, we'll be a little bit more open-minded about all genders. So Theodore Roosevelt said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. All right, like I said, kind of a long quote, but let's think about what he's saying. He says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. Right? So we all know these people. There's always somebody who will say to you, oh, well, I probably could have done better. Or, oh, well, you didn't even think about that. Probably should have tried something like this. Where they see a mistake that's made, well, the lesson is obvious, and then they act like they knew it all along, right? But Theodore Roosevelt says, don't listen to that person. All they're doing is talking. The credit belongs to the person who's actually putting in the effort, right? He says who does actually strive to do the deeds, right? So the person who puts themselves out there and actually tries, there's always going to be some critic who's trying to tell you that they knew better, but you're the person who actually went out and learned that lesson, right? And taught that lesson to everybody by, maybe making a mistake, but next time not to do that, right? So by putting yourself out there, by daring greatly, by daring to do something that hasn't been done before, you are advancing everyone's information. You're advancing your own information, and you're going to be able to do something that's even more challenging the next time, right? So don't be afraid of failing, is basically what President Roosevelt was saying. Because when you fail, you learn, you grow, you get up and try again, but you've also had the experience, you've had that joy, the excitement of daring greatly, right? And so I was thinking a lot about that this week, because really we were asking all of you to start school again. We were asking all of you to take on this great daring experience, to put yourself out there. It took bravery, it took courage to get into these Google Meets and to share some information about yourself, some personal information, as you're getting to know the different classmates and people some of whom you may have known from elementary school, but some of whom you probably never knew before, right? And by daring greatly, there's the risk that you'll fail. You might not make friends with everyone in your class, but there's also that chance, because you dared greatly, that you will have the joy of triumph, the joy of making a new friend, getting to know somebody in a different way, or maybe realizing that you have a shared interest with somebody, or maybe even learning about somebody else's interest and saying, that sounds interesting to me too. You have that joy of it and that excitement because you're daring greatly to participate in this, community at South. And so I just really want to say to all of you, take a moment, kind of pat yourself on the back, because by daring greatly, you've put yourself in a position to achieve great things this year. And so maybe that could be something that you think about throughout the year of, if things start to get a little slow, or you start to get a little bored as the year goes on, stop and think to yourself, well, I don't want to be the person who's just sitting there watching somebody else achieve great things. I want to do something great. And so think, what could I do? What would be something that I could do daring greatly to go above and beyond? It's an ambitious goal, but I think it's a worthy one for the school year. And so with that in mind, we'll move on to start your school day and see what daring events and ambitions you can come up with today. Remember, be good to yourself, take care of each other, and take care of your school.